So we finally did it. We finally lost our first 10 pounds on this journey, this road to the pros. So I want to talk about all that and some other things here as we move forward with Road to the Pros, week number 8. Here we are. We took a few weeks off there in the last couple of last month or maybe 5 weeks. I mean, we had kind of a combination of life and laziness is a pretty man. It's a pretty lethal combination when taken together in a nice little supplement stack. So we're down our first 10 pounds. We started at 223.8. We're at 214.2 as of right now. So not even officially at 10 pounds, but if we round it up just a wee little titch, we're right there at about 10 pounds. So I feel good. I feel excited that we kind of made it through phase one. I talked about the six, I think it was six. Talked about the 6 phases that I'm gonna have to work through to get back on stage. Talked about that last time back in the week 3 Road to the Pro. So go back and check that guy out if you haven't seen it already. I'll link to it down below. But what I really want to focus on here is the timeline of what I'm looking ahead to for the remainder of this year and then into next year. I'm going to talk about my specific nutritional strategy, probably next time, my specific training strategy, maybe next time or maybe in the Road to the Pros after that. I'm hoping that maybe I'm, able to adhere to a more regular cadence of, every 2 or maybe 3 weeks moving forward, not every 5 or 6 weeks. That's probably a little bit too interspersed between one Road to the Pros to the next. But let's talk about the 10 pounds first. It's funny, and if you guys are still here, if you haven't clicked away yet, thank you very much. I appreciate you. You should like and subscribe to the channel. That would be amazing. Lost the first 10 pounds. One thing that this reminded me of, go back and watch the last video. You'll see that I talked about, hey, the first 10 pounds is going to be easy. It's not going to take a lot of work. It should take me 3, maybe 4 weeks tops. Well, it took me 7. It took me 7, and we're not even officially there yet. Although for my mental records, I'm going to mark this down as a 10-pound drop. Well, the one thing that this reminded me of is it's always the same. Like, it never changes, right? It's the same movie, same plot line, very similar characters. It always takes you longer than you think. Dieting always moves more slowly than you would like it to. Always. Now, the real benefit for me that I'm going to get into here as we talk about the timeline here in a couple of minutes is I have plenty of time. So it's okay that it took me longer than I thought it would because I've given myself an incredible amount of time. So, 10 pounds in 7 weeks, that's fine. That's a fine rate of loss. I mean, I lost 4 or 5 that first week, and then we lost, a little bit less than a pound, basically the remaining 6 weeks to bring us to this point, which is fine. Because I have so much time moving forward, I'm in a really, really good spot still. The thing that's important for me, and the thing that I would encourage all of you to kind of think about and process as you're moving through your own, fitness journeys and kind of fat loss phases and whatever, as long as you keep the ball moving forward, right? Like as long as you just keep progress moving along at a reasonable pace. And to me, I mean, anything that's close to a pound a week on average, that's pretty good. It almost doesn't matter how far away you might be from your goal. Now, if you are really far away from your goal, you can usually get away with more than that. And, that's fine too. But if you're around a pound a week, pound to a pound and a half a week, that's really good, man. That's really, really solid and more importantly, sustainable progress. And so when I think about how the 7 weeks went, like, yes, I wish it would have gone a little bit quicker. I wish it would have been more like 3, 4, or 5 weeks, but it's okay. Like here we are. Now we move into phase 2, getting off these, these next 10 pounds. Okay, so let's talk about the specific timeline. I referenced this last video, and I want to make sure that we go ahead and do that now. If I have the time and the energy and the motivation to make the graphic to support this, I'll put this up on the screen now. If not, then you're just going to be stuck with me for the next 3, 4, or 11 minutes. So the timeline that I'm looking at is I want to get through the first 4 phases of the 6-phase process. I want to work through all of these 4 phases by July 1st of this year. And so I'm already through phase 1. That means I've got to get through the next 3 phases. I've got the rest of February, I've got March, I've got April, I've got May, I've got June. So again, I have a lot of time. As long as I keep moving forward, I should be perfectly fine. July 1st, I want to be done with kind of this, let's call it, the diet before the diet. Let's call it the pre-prep phase to where I can bring my body weight down to a more reasonable level to actually start prep, which for me, that's going to be somewhere between, I don't think I'll get as low as 180, but it would be amazing if I did. I think it's going to end up being somewhere between 180 and 185, let's say. A nice little 5 pound range, a nice little 5 pound band. That's where I would like to get to by July 1st. That would be a really, really, really good spot for me to land, because I referenced this in the last couple of Road to the Pros, but in 2017, I had my best season ever. Like 2017, I had my best season ever. And I think part of the reason why it was so successful was I dieted hard for, 3 or 4 months. And then I took like a 6 week break. And then I dieted hard heading into the shows. And I looked my best. I was my leanest ever. I mean, 2019, I actually think I eclipsed those things, but I never got on stage. And so it was kind of like a weird prep. I talked about this. I think it was just in the week one video. So what I want to do this go around, this competitive season, is I want to duplicate the same type of idea, the same type of process, and even accentuate the different phases of the process, right? I mean, giving myself essentially 6 months to get to 180 to 185 is very, very doable. Very, very doable. And so that's what we're shooting for, to get us to July 1st, somewhere between 180 to 185. Then what I want to do is I want to take July, August, and September, so a full 3 months, like 13 weeks, and I want to stabilize my calories. I want to stabilize my macros. I want to kind of reverse diet my way out of this, for all my Lane Norton fans that might be watching the show here today. I'm a huge fan of Lane Norton myself. And so reverse dieting, stabilizing the macros, maybe getting a lot of cardio kind of out of my daily, kind of my daily training schedule and things like that. Things I've needed to do to get down to 180, 185. Give the hormones a chance to stabilize. Give everything a chance to kind of regulate itself in my body for a solid 13 weeks. 13 weeks without a huge uptick in my body weight. Like, hopefully I can keep my body weight around the same between, the 185, obviously it'll tick up a little bit, water, glycogen, Oreos, cookie dough, stuff like that. Maybe we tick up to 187, 188, whatever. That's perfectly fine. Then what I want to do is I want to go October 1 all the way to April 1 as my actual official competition prep. So 6 months, it'll be 26 weeks. I go August. What goes after? Not August. I go October. I go November. I go December, January, February, March. And then come time April 1, I am ready to take the stage. Like, I am ready to compete and potentially make a serious run at my pro card in whatever organizations I might compete in. And then my thinking is the competitive season itself will be April, May, and June. I don't think I can last longer than 3 months. Maybe I will. I don't know. Maybe the motivation will just carry me. Maybe the fumes will be stronger and have more energy in them than I'm anticipating. That's possible. But I'm thinking a competitive season that's 3 months long, that'd be very, very long. That'd be the longest competitive season, of my career by far. And so if I can hang on that long, by that time I will absolutely have a coach in the process, because I don't want to do this myself, especially not at the very end. I need some help. I want to learn from somebody that's better than me. I want to learn from somebody that's been where I'm trying to go, and all those things. I want to do all these things in the beginning on my own, because again, my pride is so strong. Too strong, maybe, that I want to get this stuff out of the way on my own, and then we'll bring a coach in. And so obviously that'll be a decision that we make together. But this is kind of what I'm thinking, and this is kind of the timeline that I'm working with. And so I think the most important part of the whole timeline is what's actually happening right now. Like, I need to get to 180 to 185 by July 1. If I can get to 180, 185 by July 1, I'm going to be in a really great spot. I'm going to be in a really great spot to reverse diet. I'm going to be in a really great spot to stabilize my macros. I'm going to be in a really great spot to just, take this thing home to the finish line come October, November, December, January, February, March. And that would be really, really awesome. And then, in a 3-month competitive season, I'm thinking I would probably do 3 or 4 shows, maybe 5 shows. I don't know. It would all depend on the schedules and where they're at, and how many are in Florida, how many are in, Georgia, how many are in, Massachusetts, kind of traveling up there or whatever. Like, if there's a lot of travel involved, which there could be, there has been at various points in my career, then that's obviously going to change, how many I'm able to do, just because, you have logistics, you have the financial impact, you have, just a lot of different things, especially with, I got a wife, I got 3 kids, I got, a job, I got a lot of things going on. And so, that's kind of what I'm thinking. That's kind of what I'm thinking from a timeline standpoint. And so the biggest takeaway for you all is what I said earlier about it always taking longer than you think and always moving slower than you think it will. That's absolutely the biggest takeaway for you when it comes to this. But I think a close second might be, hey man, don't discount the power of giving yourself a little bit of a break along the way. I mean, you can call it a reverse diet, you can call it a diet break, you can use whatever buzzword, in the fitness influencer community that you want to use. I don't really care. But if you think about, especially if you have a long way to go, like if you've got, 35, 40, 45, 50, 60 pounds to go, whatever, it's like, man, give yourself plenty of time and give yourself, kind of chunks of the calendar that are set aside to kind of take a little bit of a break. Not to go off the reservation, like, reservations at the Great Wall Buffet, every lunch for, 14 days straight. Like, I'm not talking about that because that's going to undo a whole lot of progress. But just something where you're still tracking, you're still very mindful of what you're doing. But man, when you've been in a deficit for, 4 to 5 to 6 months or whatever, your phase might look like. When you've been in a deficit for a prolonged period of time, even if it's not a significant deficit, just always being in a deficit, it's draining. Right? Just always being in a deficit, like it can really wear you down over time and it's extremely fatiguing. And so to be able to just come out of that deficit and either be at maintenance or be in a small surplus, it's going to be great for you physiologically. It's going to be great for you from an energy standpoint. It is going to allow you to maybe enjoy some things that you haven't been able to enjoy in a while just because you can't fit them into your macros. Like maybe now you can go have some pizza with your wife or your husband or your friends or whatever. Maybe now you can go get a little bit of sweet and sour chicken, from time to time. Probably not lunch every day for 14 days, but maybe you can mix it in once or twice, or maybe even thrice if your reverse dieting window is long enough. And so I think that's a huge, huge benefit, and I would take advantage of that. And so that's kind of what I'm looking at for the next couple of months, and basically going to the middle of this year. That's my timeline for what I'm thinking in terms of this competitive season, this 2024 into 2025 competitive season. I feel very good right now. I feel very, very good. In terms of mentally and physically, I feel very good. Like mentally, I feel strong. It has not been hard, as evidenced by the fact that it's taken 7 weeks. It probably needs to be a little bit harder, honestly. But physically, I feel very good. I haven't felt this good in a very long time. My litany of injuries, just by and large, are feeling pretty good, kind of across the board. I mean, the triceps is feeling okay. The shoulders feeling okay. The calf's feeling okay. The neck's in a pretty good spot. And so I am very excited about, what the rest of this year has to bring. And, right now I'm still very much in kind of put your head down and grind mode, just to kind of close out this road to the pros, which might be the quickest road to the pros in the history of road to the pros. But we got to button up here on this Saturday afternoon. I've just been in grind mode and I'm just going to continue to be in grind mode moving forward. Like moving forward, at least the next phase, it's just grind mode. Like I don't look really any different. Like I feel pretty good because I'm motivated with what I'm doing, and I have the goals kind of set, I have the dates kind of set, and I kind of can see forward to what's going to come, and that's very exciting. But in terms of like my physique actually looking any different, it doesn't really look any different. Like I'm going to take some physique shots tomorrow, and they're probably not going to look that much different than the first round of physique shots. But that's fine. That's okay. I mean, right now we're just cutting through, man, we are cutting through some blubber. Like we are cutting through some straight up fluff. Like that marshmallow fluff that you buy at Publix, like that's basically what I have on the outer level of my skin right now. And that's okay. Like that's what you sign up for. That's what I'm signing up for. And so that's kind of, the deal that we've made here when it comes to, getting in really good shape. And so I don't expect to look too different right now, and that's okay because I know that's coming on down the road. I know the first 2 phases, it's really just grind. It's really just trim off some fluff. And then once we get under 200 pounds, I still won't really look that different. But yeah, I might be able to start seeing it like in my face and like in my jowls. My jowls are about to be shredded when this thing is over. But I'm excited. I'm excited about what's coming on down the chute. So that's it, man. Road to the pros, week number 8. Y'all probably thought that this thing was over, and it's probably about a 50 delta that it would be over because we kind of hit the kaputs on it early last year. So you probably thought that the same thing was happening this year. But no, we're still going strong. I'm hoping to get another one of these out in just 2 or 3 weeks, and they'll be more regular when I'm actually in prep. This is all like so like far away from the actual day. The motivation to do these isn't as high as I would like it to be, just to be perfectly frank with you all. But I do want to let you guys in at least on what's going on with my training, what's going on with my nutrition. Some of you have been asking what I'm doing, and so I kind of want to let you guys know what I'm doing. I mean, it's nothing special. Like it's nothing like, it's not going to blow you away. It's basically going to be the same stuff you hear from everybody else. But some of you are curious as to what I am personally doing. So I'm going to let you guys know. But that's it. I'm going to shut it down now. If you made it this far into the video, man, I really appreciate you. If you want to like the video, that really helps. If you want to share the video, that helps even more. And then, of course, if you want to subscribe to the channel, that would be absolutely amazing. So I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you guys next time.